And let's just bring you some new pictures that we've received. The Fars news agency, which is managed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, has released footage purporting to show the preparation of missiles used in Tuesday's attack on Israel. In the video that we can see here, we've got posters of Hezbollah's former leader, Hassan Nasrallah, and Hamas's former political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, both of whom were killed by Israel. They were struck onto the missiles. Our military analyst, Sean Bell, is here with me. Sean, what do you make of this?
Well, as I say, it's my first reading of this as we're seeing it now. I think what we've got to remember is there's a lot of propaganda around this. What they're showing here is a massive show of force. It's demonstrating clear military prowess. It's showing that they are retaliating. They're doing something as a result of those attacks against Hassan Nasrallah and Ismail Haniyeh. So this is for a domestic audience rather than an international audience. I think what's, from a military perspective, the one thing that Iran is not famous for is very good quality technology. And therefore, it's one thing building a rocket that can make a lot of noise and disappear into the night sky. It's quite another whether it can evade being shot down, whether it has the right technology on board it to enable it to be effective. Now, at the moment, ballistic missiles are very difficult to shoot down. We understand that 180 were launched that fateful night. What we haven't seen is a massive load of destruction on the ground at Israel. Part of that would almost certainly Israel wouldn't want us to see what destruction had happened. We've seen a few strikes on the ground, but one particularly at an airfield. But I have to say, from a military perspective, it demonstrates that Iran fired probably its best shot at Israel, and very little of it actually impacts on the ground. That would be embarrassing for Iran, and therefore, by demonstrating this clear show of force for a domestic audience, it demonstrates to the population that they have avenged the deaths of these two leaders.
And putting posters on missiles or writing messages on missiles is something that all sides do, to be frank, isn't it? I've seen American missiles up close with things written on them.
Well, certainly, I'm a former Air Force guy, and we used to, some of the ground crew would write on the bombs on aircraft messages. That's not unusual to do that. And for a propaganda perspective, this is a propaganda video, let's be clear. It's all been very carefully stage managed. And I say, this is a lot about Iran. Iran's in a slightly difficult position here militarily. We've got to be clear that they are wanting to preserve their nuclear program. They do not want to enter a major war with Israel, but they also they will want to avenge the deaths of these two leaders. And therefore, we've been waiting since the end of July, if you remember. That's when Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated, and then Hassan Nasrallah. We've been waiting quite some time for this. So Iran will have tried to measure. They've seen that their first wave attacks in April largely didn't have much effect. It looks like they've turned up the wick slightly by only firing ballistic missiles. Once again, their impact has been relatively limited, but they will want to glean the maximum possible propaganda for an internal audience, and that, I think, is what this video is about.